So this is the Double Mahoi that I just took out of its large pot. I had to move all the gravel out of the floor, away from the actual floor bed base of my greenhouse. And it was probably, I don't know, just by judging over here, you can kind of see it was probably about 6 inches of gravel. I pulled it all back with a rake and then a hoe. Then I found the actual ground, and I just kind of dug a hole out. This ring I haven't finished. I've got one more panel. It's a 6 panels that you screw together, and it's got plastic protecting the coating, which I need to pull off. It's a 30-inch ring, and basically what I've done is just pulled all this back, filled in the dirt back in around the plant, watered it in thoroughly, and then I'm going to put this ring around it. Once I finish it, I'm going to kind of set it in place. Then I'm going to backfill the gravel back up to the outside and fill the rest of it in with compost and some type of organic garden soil of some kind. But if you notice, this one is fairly young, but it is the same age as that monster right there, which is won't be long, it'll be close to the roof. They're the same age. The only difference is this big tall one here, I put it in the ground in the same way. You can see the ring around the bottom of it last year. And so it's been in the ground a year longer than this one. And it is double the size. Once I put it in the ground, it was just this one main one right here. And it had a pup. Just like this one has a little pup. Right there. That little baby one right there. They call those pups. Well, the pup is almost as big as, here's the pup. It's almost as big as the mother plant. So I follow a guy on YouTube who has tried to grow Double Mahoi bananas. I believe in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a warmer climate than I have, but I've not yet seen a video where he has succeeded in being able to get actual fruit from them. I think he gets fruit, but I don't think they can ripen in time before his winter arrives. So me having this greenhouse environment, I'm able to overwinter them and keep them in the earth. So my husband was like, it's going to take up a lot of your space. Well, it kind of does, but then it kind of doesn't. I have not really missed that space. I can clearly walk through here because these leaves are actually taller than me. If I walk over here, you can kind of see that I'm standing up, and I can walk through here very easily. It doesn't affect the plants that I have on my table. And I have actually little pots underneath it of some things, so it's really not taking up much space. And it's kind of neat because these big leaves will kind of provide a little bit of shade for some of my plants to get a little bit of reprieve from the heat and the direct sun, during the late afternoon. So it's actually been a blessing to have it. There's some more little pups coming now from this pup. I now have a 3rd generation pup, which I really don't want because I really want it to kind of focus on fruit development. But when this plant gets about 6 feet tall, I'm standing on blocks, so I'm a little bit taller. But when this plant gets about 6 feet tall, it's going to put out something that's going to look like maybe the start of a leaf. See this big tall leaf? It's a new leaf. But it's not. It's going to be the bloom that's going to be coming out. But it's not quite 6 feet tall yet. So I'm waiting. But I think soon we're going to see a bloom come from this. I'm so excited because they are legitimate bananas to be eaten. And it produces, I think, a double crop of bananas. That's why they call it a Double Mahoi banana tree. A lot of your banana trees are just ornamental, and so they don't actually grow or get grown for fruit purposes. It's more because they're just cool looking. But this one actually is cool looking, but it produces legitimate edible bananas. I mean, look at the leaf here. Can you guys see? That sucker is 4 feet long. I mean, it's just, ooh, it's just huge. I think they're so cool. So if you had even a small greenhouse that had at least probably a 7 to 8 foot ceiling, then you could grow one of these Double Mahois. But back to this little guy here. Again, he is actually the same age, was bought the same time that I bought this one. But that shows you the difference between keeping something in a pot or putting something in the earth. Its roots are allowed to just go all underneath there and get as much nutrition and water as it needs to support all of this growth. So I'm going to backfill this, and we're going to see if this little guy does as well as this guy. And I'll keep you posted and show you when, and I'm going to say when, we get this bloom, and the blooms are really cool. So I went ahead and moved all the gravel back around the perimeter of the ring. So all I need to do now is just fill in the inside up to, I don't want to fill it too high upon the plant, but there's a lot of exposed roots there if you get down and look. So I think I can put quite a bit of dirt in there, but it looks a lot cleaner now that I have moved all of the piles of dirt that I had here and over there. I've just put it all around the ring, and easily can walk through here. Have no problem walking through here. And then you can kind of see what this one looks like. And that is a pineapple plant. And that pineapple plant was given to me by my mom. She will buy like pineapples from the store, and then she cuts the tops off and sits them in water, and they grow roots. And then once they get established, she puts them in a little pot and then gives them to me. And I put this in the ground because I want you to see over here, I actually grew one that she gave me. This plant here all started from just the top of a store-bought pineapple. And she put it in this hanging basket. You can still see the chains on here. And I grew it, and look what it produced for me. I have a whole series of videos on how I got it to fruit. So if you're interested at all, you can watch that. I give detailed instructions on how I did everything. It's like a 3 or 4 part series. But anyway, I thought, well, heck, if it can grow pineapple, you can see how big the pineapple is compared to my hand. If it will grow one that size in a little shallow pot, then how much more would it produce if it had plenty of room in the earth to grow? So this is just a baby one here. It's already greened up quite a bit. It was kind of yellow just from, probably being root bound. And it's already sent up several new top little leaves there. So I'm anxious to see what it will do. It's still so young. It'll probably be a couple years before I can get it to fruit. But I think once it gets old enough, it's going to be able to produce a much larger pineapple. I've been using a little bit of citrus tone, Espoma citrus tone on this one here. So, I've given it a little bit of nutrition along. But it's exciting. It's exciting to grow tropical type fruit like that and like these banana trees. So anyway, I'm going to put some more good soil or compost in this and sort of just top it off, cover all those roots up, and it'll be finished. So to give you an update on the banana trees, this is the one that I just put in the ground, and it's the same exact age as that monstrosity there, but this one here has been in the ground for close to a year longer. So, or maybe right at a year longer. But you can see that this thing is sending up new large leaves. Its pup over here is sending up a large leaf. So it's just really taken off since I put it in the ground. No more brown leaves. They're all really green and lush. It'll take a little while for all those roots to expand out into that soil. But I'm sure it's already made serious progress. But the main thing I wanted to show you was this mother plant here. Now she's got a pup right here behind her, almost the same size that she is. But I made an observation. I don't know if you can really tell how large this leaf is. You know, it's a 4-foot long leaf, every bit of 4 foot long, from the tip all the way down to the base. And then this one here, very long. But then I noticed that it sent out this leaf here, which is seems to be stunted. It's not near as big, and you can see where it starts. And so I got to looking, because I follow this guy that does the banana trees in Georgia and in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta. And he said that one thing he noticed was that right before it put out a bloom, that it would put out a real small leaf. So I thought, well, that's odd. So then I got to investigating, and I want you to look at this. Now, that may appear to be a leaf, but there's nothing about this that looks like a normal leaf. It has a weird end. It curls around like it could be a leaf, but it's a very odd shape, and it gets very fat down in here, unlike what it normally looks like. To give you an example, maybe this is a good example here, where you see where it comes out and it's very coiled up, about the size of my thumb. And it's a green, and it just looks like a leaf that's rolled up. This one does not look at all like that. This is, it's just different. It's very fat at the base. And something that I observed a while back is that this area here looked very distended to me. It looked very fat. See how, I don't know if you can really tell what I'm trying to explain, but the leaves here are very hugged up against the stalk. All the way down, the leaves kind of stay pretty hugged up against. But then they started sort of pushing away, like it was getting wider between here and here, Like these leaves were kind of, I don't know, like there was something maybe inside here that was kind of pushing this leaf instead of hugging up against it like, say, this one was. It's kind of pushing it out. It's hard to explain. This one here is a little more hugged up against it, but it's just almost like there is something here in this region that's swelling. But I thought, well, it's just, my imagination or wishful thinking. But I am quite convinced that this is the bloom. That this thing coming out right here is the bloom. We're going to watch it. We're going to see. If that is the case, it's going to be excessively heavy for this plant, which is already leaning this way. And it's not, I don't know if you can see how much give, but something really heavy pulling this way will pull that, break it down at the base. So I'm going to have to support it somehow. So I'm thinking about maybe putting a 2x4 up against these blocks, kind of angled up, and some kind of a U-shape brace that kind of maybe supports it underneath this, and just not pushes it per se, but supports it. Because this bloom, I'm predicting, will come out and hang over here, pulling this way. So I am super excited. That does not look like any leaf that has ever come out. It looks like exactly what that guy on his video, on his channel, told me about. So I'm feeling pretty confident, but we'll just kind of every so many days, we'll take a look at it and do kind of a progress on it. Okay, so it's been a couple of days and I just wanted to show you a little update. Because this plant is really starting to lean this way, and I'm kind of afraid that when that bloom comes out, it's going to come out over this direction and pull that plant. So I made just a temporary support, which may end up not being so temporary. I just used this 2x10 and put some foam so that it wouldn't injure the actual stalk or the trunk of the plant. So that's just some kind of packing material that I had saved. I'm a hoarder. I saved all this stuff because you just never know, and it's pushing against this leaf thing over here, and so hopefully it will support it. But you can see the bloom is now larger than it was the last time I videotaped. It's starting to have that pinkish color. You know, I'm not really sure. It may be a kind of a small bloom because this is the first generation banana tree. And this here will be the second generation. And then down below where the little pup is will be the third. And they claim that the third generation has I think the largest crop. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you where the bloom here had progressed. I have no doubt now that that's definitely the bloom. I did put some espoma fertilizer. I had no idea what kind of fertilizer to choose, so because it's a fruit-bearing plant, I chose berry tone. Possibly could have done citrus tone, could have done rose tone. I don't know, but it's organic and it probably all has basically the same, you know, compounds in it. One might be better, you know, for one particular thing, but I chose berry tone because I had it on hand, and I just sprinkled it around the base here because I figure it probably needs nutritional support as it's producing this bloom here. You can see the end of it, how odd it is. Okay, so a few days later, actually 1 day later, from the last video that we just did, a few days later from when I discovered it, you can already see that there's starting to be some bending and some separation here. And this appears down in here to be maybe the neck of the bloom, and this is going to be the bloom itself. But I just kind of want to show you what it's doing day to day because it's changing rapidly every day. So here's the following day, and you can see that it's really starting to hang over there, and the bloom is really drooping here. You know, this is called a Double Mahoi, so I'm wondering if this is like the first one and then the double means that it will be a second one. But you know, regardless, I'm just ecstatic that I've got a bloom to start with. I think it's pretty exciting. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see if underneath this petal, tucked underneath here, are the little bananas, and then there's one and little fingers of bananas. So we'll see. I would say, I don't know if there's anything up underneath this. No, this is just the outer leaf, it looks like. So, and it may be several petals underneath here before you actually start getting the little banana fingers, but I'll show you those as soon as I can see them. So anyway, every day it's drastically changing. Okay, so today is July 21st, and I want you to see what my banana tree is doing. We've talked about this bloom coming out. You can see how the neck has grown. And you can see underneath here, this part is growing. And here is like a petal. And then here is a petal. And then you can see each petal, and it's producing this neck. As it grows, you can see underneath there's a neck. And then it will continue to, travel down. But the exciting thing is underneath these petals are the bananas. And look what I have growing. That is the bunch of bananas. And you can see it's a double row. There's a row back behind it, and then there's this row in front. But isn't that cute? Those are the bananas. Now at the end of the banana is like a bloom. These white things is like the bloom part. So I don't know. My son was asking, do they need to be pollinated? And I honestly don't know. But I will say that since yesterday, the green part there, the actual banana, that has doubled in length from yesterday. So, I'm thinking that they'll be even bigger. But this thing here, this bloom here, and you see it separating, you probably can't see it, but probably up in there are, it's too close to see it, but there's probably bananas. Actually, you can see these. This is the second petal. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. But there are some, gosh, it's too hard to focus it, but there are some bananas up inside there. So, I'm so excited. It won't be long that the second pup here will probably be producing its bloom. Probably in another couple months, I would expect it may, because you can see it is not far behind at all. So I'll keep you posted. Now when this thing gets longer and it starts hanging down, I think the key will be to cut off so that the plant can focus on the development of the bananas that it's produced thus far versus, continue to make more and more and more bunches. We want them to eventually ripen and get nice and large. So, but I'm super excited. Just wanted to share. I'll keep you posted.